So this week, Molson Coors, of all companies, decided to speak out about how the legalization of marijuana in various states, including Colorado, their home state, may end up hurting the beer industry as a whole. We've got some thoughts on this. I think you're going to want to hear them because I definitely want to
Yeah,
say them. So,
yeah, that's just
yeah, welcome back to the second draft.
welcome back. Okay, so here's what I don't understand is that you as a craft, and they're not even a craft beer, as a beer company, you understand that you have a piece of the market share that is this vertical, this very specific industry.
Hmm.
And what they're envisioning it as is just beer. But in reality, what they have is kind of like legal recreational activity that kind of gets you inebriated, right? Like if you
Right.
think about it from the perspective of this isn't necessarily a product, what you're providing to your audience is an experience through your product.
Hmm.
And in reality, what is happening is some people have their preferences, go figure, and their vices are to each person their own. So be it.
People already smoke weed. Millions and millions and millions of people smoke weed. That hasn't made them stop drinking beer yet. Just because it's legalized doesn't make it any more or less popular. It's just easier to get and probably a little bit more expensive, honestly. Do you know what is
Yeah,
detrimental to the beer industry? What's detrimental to the beer industry, Coors, is trying to steal another brewery's intellectual property and slapping their name on your cans.
it's
That's
bad.
detrimental. You know what else is bad? Is buying up all your competition and trying to swallow them whole so nobody can compete with you. That's bad for the beer industry, not marijuana.
At least this isn't. It's not a slander campaign. This is a single line that has been brought out of a conversation. I'm sure it was just, let's have a conversation about what the legalization of marijuana means to the beer industry.
Right.
But when you take a look at a town like Golden, where Coors is located, it's in Colorado. It's in an area that is very pro marijuana. No one there has an issue with it. They've kind of passed that threshold, and just like we expect to see with the rest of the country, most people don't care.
Right.
They really don't care whatsoever because, like you said, people have been smoking for forever. And in most cases, I know plenty of people that don't mind both. There's
Yeah.
no, and it kind of depends on what they're feeling that night. And
Right.
what is happening here is that big companies throwing a fit about the fact that they now have to share a slice of the pie,
It's more
and that's
competition.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous because it's just two very, very different things. When you're a company like Coors, you've got you're not going away anytime soon. You've got a loyal following. You got people that go to the store and they look at all of the trashy 30 packs and they say, "I want that one
Throw me
because
that stone.
it's yeah." Because it tastes slightly different from the other light beer that I'd normally drink, and I also have this weird affinity for that one
Yeah.
because they had a fight one time with the people that are all Budweiser fans, and now now they'll never drink it again, or
Right.
the one night they had one too many Keystones, and there you go. So I just don't understand it. I mean, here where I live, there's a dispensary, but in Arizona, weed is not legal yet, despite a very close margin in the polls last year, or 2 years ago. And I don't think that that's going to hold up very much longer. But
I hear the police are coming for us for having this conversation.
yeah, they are. They're no, here in Flagstaff, they'd be like, okay, well, move on. I wrote a marketing strategy though for a dispensary here in town, and it's super wild because you cannot do anything. Most of the standard lead generation tactics that you would try to pitch for a company, and you talk about advertising, you talk about even having a website up and saying specific things, having reviews that mention purchasing marijuana, any of those things. Search engines, Google in particular, will just destroy that page. You will not show up in organic results. You will not be able to advertise through the
Organic.
largest platform.
Sorry.
Yeah. But you cannot, sometimes if you have your website up and it mentions something about how you're selling that product, you're done. Your web host gets notified, and then they pull it down because they don't want to get flagged.
Right.
And so it's ridiculous because most people here in Flag where I live, they're like very marijuana friendly. They don't really care, and because of the rest of the state down near the Phoenix area, it's like, what are we gonna do? But ironically, we have this booming craft beer scene, and no one cares.
Right.
They're all fully on board, and I'm sure if we were to pitch to that company, and I didn't because we had other fish to fry with this marketing strategy, but if I pitched to them some collaboration with the craft brew industry here, they would be all for it, and the craft beer people would be all for it as well because they understand the benefits of cross branding in that way. Mm-hmm. Because this is they have it's not a similar effect, but they have the same intention people have often when they partake in one and the other.
Right.
So it's a way to unwind. It's a way to kind of get away from it's not escapist, but it's a way to get away from the humdrum of every day. Sure. So the fact that you can't advertise, you can't do any standard lead generation tactics for the marijuana industry, I think it says a lot about what the consumer interest is. And if you're afraid of that industry when you have the ability to smother them with ad dollars, to smother them with your branding and your well-established infrastructure, I think it's just kind of cowardly and ridiculous. I don't understand it. All right, rant over.
Yeah. Just to bring things full circle, I feel like Coors, again, it just comes down to competition. And they're a company that's already shown time again that they fear competition. They'll do anything to try and silence and stop the competition. And this is just the next target for them. It's not going to stop. Nobody's going to stop buying Coors. People are not going to stop smoking weed in favor of Coors. So I don't really know what the end game is here. I have no idea. Just to make as many enemies as possible, I guess. So, yeah.
I'm sure other companies have kind of, embraced this kind of track and this mentality in the beer industry. Mm-hmm. I think I remember in the article that I read from Cannabis that Kona was mentioned, but if you dig deeper a little bit, Kona is owned by InBev, so right. It's just big beer saying we're afraid of marijuana.
Yep.
And if you look at the heart and soul of the beer industry right now, it's the craft breweries that are popping up all over the nation. And most of them, I think, don't really care because they're in it for the passion. They're in it for like making something new.
Yeah, and I don't think the craft beer industry would be necessarily affected negatively by the legalization of marijuana either, because craft brewing it's stylish. It's sort of a lifestyle type thing. You know, people go out of their way to drink it. And I think if anybody's going to be affected, and I really don't think that's the case, but it's going to be the big manufacturers like Coors and InBev and whatnot, because they're just not that competitive a product, really, I guess is what it comes down to. I mean, craft beer, there's something special about it. There's an artistry about it. It takes you to a different place than, big beer does. So
yeah, there's definitely something to be said about, like, we're living in kind of a golden age of craft beer, which I'm very grateful for. But I'm waiting for the day that the craft beer industry is healthy enough to take on big beer in a way that people are just more interested in having something that tastes better.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I think we're coming really close to that point in the history of beer. I think it's going to come soon. So
yeah,
I think that lawsuit between Stone and Molson Coors is one of the steps towards that eventually taking place. So yeah. So Coors, stop being a bunch of these. Weed isn't going to hurt you. Just stop. Just you've got a lot of bad press lately. Just stop.
Yeah, stop messing around. Just do what you do well, which is make shitty beer in the mountains and try to tell people that you make better beer than what you make. Yeah, there's subsidiary kind of secondary beers that you've purchased, breweries that you've purchased. Invest in those. Maybe invest in those. Maybe take some of your earnings and just donate them to craft breweries that are popping up in the area. I think we'd all enjoy that.
Sure. Yeah, why not? Yeah. I guess that wraps it up, really.
I think so. I think that's all I think we said everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Join
Okay.
us next time. Comment below if you disagree with us. I doubt that's going to happen, but let us know what you think about Molson Coors, and we could maybe just have a side conversation about Golden, Colorado, and how it's a pretty awesome place, sans giant brewery.
Yeah, dude, Woody's Pizza.
Woody's is fire, and their pizza is wood fired.
Yeah, dude,
There
that's
it
some
is.
of the best pizza I've ever had still, and it's all made to order. It's incredible. So,
Delicious.
yeah. Join us next time when we talk about Woody's Pizza for half an hour.
We could. I could.
Good too.
I think it is like, hello.
You're like, hi. High five. Yeah.
Then we have to end it like Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Don't you forget about me.
By me.
I'll be alone. Dancing, you know it, baby. Okay, that's enough.